Hi, and welcome back to the Football Catch-Up Show and the football prediction results as they follow. As we said before, this has been a wonderful time as we've opened this channel, and we've got some new ideas coming to the channel, different things along the lines, which we will get on to that in a little bit, and we'll express that a bit more on what's going to go on and on this channel. Mummy, got a dry voice. So, let's start with Saturday's Premier League fixtures and the results and our predictions. Our prediction for Brighton and Leeds was 2-2. Brighton won 3-0. It was a cracking performance from Brighton. Not a lot to watch from Leeds. Burnley, we had Burnley v Arsenal. We had 1-4 to Arsenal. It was 2-0 Arsenal, and it was another brilliant performance from Arsenal and another clean sheet. Meaning, only 3 goals had still been conceded by Arsenal all season. Brilliant. Crystal Palace, we said 3-2 over Brentford. It ended up being a clean sheet for Crystal Palace and Dean Henderson in the Crystal Palace goal. And it ended up being 2-0 Crystal Palace. Fulham, again, as it came through, as we said, Fulham would win 3-1. They didn't. They won 3-0. Wolves, right at the end, nearly had a chance of nicking the 1 goal to bang me in my prediction. They did not quite get there with that. So that was a little bit and ahhing for that one. And a little bit upsetting on my part. Excuse me. And I thought we were really going to see the results. But we didn't. It was 3-0 and a red card to Wolves. Man United. We said Man United would win 4-1. How wrong were we? Nottingham Forest came out and scored 2 very quick goals out of half-time when Man United were leading 1-0. They took the 2-1 and then we survived in like the 90th minute from an Ahmad goal on the volley, which was a brilliant goal. Thank you, Ahmad. We predicted Chelsea and Tottenham to draw 2-2. Chelsea ended up winning 1-0. Chelsea should have won by about 4 or 5. Tottenham's performance was terrible. And Liverpool, a lot of pundits are saying Liverpool are back. Don't count your chickens too early. Man United did that and we paid the price by drawing 2-2. So don't count your chickens too early saying that you're back after a result. Because it can all go wrong in the next game. We said Leicester would win 3-1. It didn't happen. Blackburn ended up winning 2-0, which was a brilliant game for Blackburn and a great upset if you are looking at that. And Leicester really underperforming at the moment and does not look like coming straight up. Norwich and Liam Manning. Nothing this afternoon or yesterday appeared after Hull City beat Norwich 2-0 about the sacking of Liam Manning. Nothing has come out of the dressing rooms. Nothing is coming out on reports of that. So there is no sack for Liam Manning at Norwich. But it is another straight defeat for Liam Manning at Norwich. And then West Brom v Hull. We said 3-1 West Brom. It ended 0-0. It was absolutely diabolical from West Brom in attack. But what a performance again from Sheffield Wednesday. And they really are starting to look a little bit more like them old selves with a little bit more confidence now that they are got rid of this owner issue like it happened. Birmingham, we said, would lose to Portsmouth at home. They did not. They absolutely blow Portsmouth off the pitch with a 4-0 win. We said Charlton would win 3-1 because of Swansea playing in midweek. That made no difference. It ended 1-1. It was a good game to watch. We said Oxford and Millwall would draw 2-2. That is the exact result it was. It was 2-2 to Oxford in the Oxford game. They had to come from behind twice in that match, but they finally did, and it ended 2-2, so that's one correct prediction for us this weekend. We said QPR and Ipswich were going to win 3-1. They won 4-1. I was a little bit gutted because I thought the 3-1 would have been happy. But, yep, no, well done Ipswich for scoring 4. Sheffield United, back-to-back defeats now. Again, and it's another win for Derby County. I think that's 3 on the spin for Derby County. They beat Sheffield United 3-1, so if you flip the score, I got it correct. Preston and Southampton. Last night, nothing was released by Southampton, but fans were making it perfectly clear by booing the players off the pitch, and they were booing as well Will Steele at full time, saying that his performances are pathetic. And released at 7:25 this evening, Will Steele has been sacked as Southampton boss after their 2-0 defeat and their very, very poor start. So they have sacked Will Steele at Southampton. That has just come in, and it was a cracking performance from Stoke City with their 5-1 win over Bristol City, and Watford carrying on their good run of games with a 3-0 win over Middlesbrough. We had 3-1. In the FA Cup, you can swap the score around again and I would have got the score correct, but wrong team. I said 4-1 Braintree, but it was 4-1 to Chelmsford, and Chelmsford won that game, which was a cup upset. We had 2 back-to-back cup upsets because Gateshead beat AFC Wimbledon 2-0. We predicted Wimbledon to win 3-1. They didn't. We had Barnsley to win 4-1. They didn't. They won 3-2. We had Blackpool to lose to Scunthorpe. They didn't. They won 1-0. We had Bolton to win 4-1. They didn't. They won 2-1. And Boreham Wood beat Crawley 3-0. And we said that Crawley would win 3-1, but they didn't. They lost. Bristol Rovers, we had 2-2. It ended 2-1. Burton Albion with a cracking performance, scoring 6 against St Albans. It ended 6-0. Buxton ended up winning the game in extra time after it at full time drew 1-1. Cambridge ended up winning a comfortable 3-0 over Chester. Cheltenham made another cup upset against Bradford City by knocking them out by winning only 1-0. MK Dons and Colchester, we said 2-3 to Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes won 3-1. We said 3-1 MK Dons. It ended 3-2 MK Dons. Doncaster, we had a 2-2 draw. It was anything but. It was 2-1. FC Halifax, we said we're going to lose 4-1. They didn't. They lost 2-0. We said 2-2 between Fleetwood and Barnet. That didn't happen either. It was 2-1 to Fleetwood. We said Grimsby would win 5-1 against Ebbsfleet. They didn't. They won 3-1, but had 2 goals disallowed, even though there was no VAR, so no one could check them. At Macclesfield and AFC Tottenham, that was the greatest game of the FA Cup so far, as well as the Luton and Forest Green game, which was 4-3. But this one took the gold medal for the best game in the FA Cup. it was 6-3 Macclesfield. It was 3-3 at half time. It was 3-3 after 28 minutes. It was explosive. But 3-0 Macclesfield in the second half to make it 6-3. Mansfield, we had we predicted 4-2 over Harrogate, and it ended 3-2 Mansfield. Newport County ended up winning on penalties. It ended 2-2 after extra time. Oldham, we said 3-3. It ended 3-1. Peterborough, we said would beat Cardiff. There was another cup upset because Peterborough beat Cardiff. Reading lost to Carlisle. As you can see, I'm wearing a Carlisle shirt today. After a very, very poor collapse from Reading. They led 2-0 after 68 minutes. After Lewis Wing gave them the lead after 32. And Amani gave us the 2-0 lead after 68. But then it was a brilliant performance from Regan Linney, who literally scored a hat-trick in the space of about 11 minutes. 2 of them came in 90 minutes, and then he scored the winner in the 104th minute of extra time, just before the half-time, and Reading couldn't respond. We said Rotherham and Swindon would end 2-2. It did end a draw, but ended 1-1, and Swindon ended up with 10 men, but ended up winning in extra time, 1-0 in extra time, meaning the game ended 2-1. Salford won on penalties and caused a cup upset over Lincoln. Lincoln went down to 10 men. Slough beat 10 men. Altrincham, we had 3-2 Slough, it ended 2-1. Spennymoor and Barrow, we had 6-1 Barrow, it ended 2-0. Chesterfield caused another cup upset after we said that Chesterfield would lose to Stevenage. They did not, and they ended up losing 1-0 to Chesterfield. Sutton United, we said would win 3-2. They didn't, they won 2-1. Stockport, we said 4-1, it ended 3-1. Wealdstone, we said was going to be a 2-2 draw. It wasn't. Wealdstone won 1-0. Aldershot were very unlucky. They got nabbed right at half, right in the second half, late in the game, and drew 1-1, and then lost in extra time 2-1. Wigan then went on to go down to 10 and ended up drawing the game 1-1, and then on penalties winning 5-4. Wycombe Wanderers down to 10 men beat Plymouth Argyle 2-0, and Brackley Town caused another cup upset with a 3-2 win on with a 2-2 draw and then a win on penalties. Then we'll go to the Farnham and Basingstoke game. We predicted it to be 3-2 to Farnham. It was a 5-goal thriller. It was not 3-2 though. It was 4-1 to Farnham. We said 3-1 Berkhamsted over Haverton Waterlooville. It wasn't. Berkhamsted beat 10 man Haverton Waterlooville 2-1. Then our prediction for Bracknell and Dorchester 2-2. It was not a good performance again, but it was the 2-2 draw that I predicted. Hanwell, we said were going to win their game against Taunton. Taunton caused a huge upset by winning 4-0 on the road. That is their first win in 11. Plymouth Parkway over Eversham. We said Eversham would carry on their winning ways. They did not. They lost 1-0 to Parkway. Poole and Gosport. We said Gosport would lose 4-3 to Poole. No. Gosport won 1-0. Shillong, we said, would draw 2-2 with Hungerford. They did anything but. They won 5-3 over Hungerford. We said Uxbridge would lose to Gloucester. They did anything but. They won 4-3. Walton and Hersham, we said 5-1 over Tiverton. It was not. It was 6 goals, but it was 6-0. Weymouth and Yatetown, we said Weymouth would win 2-1. They didn't. They drew 2-2. And Wimborne, we said would win 3-1. They didn't. They won 4-1. And that's that. Moving on to the National League South. We said Bath would beat Horsham, would lose 3-1 to Horsham. They didn't. Horsham won 2-0 over 10-man Bath. Chesham, we said would win 3-1. They didn't. They won 2-1. Dagenham, Redbridge and Farnborough, we said 1-1. It was 0-0. Enfield and Eastern Borough, we said Eastern Borough would carry on their losing streak. They didn't. They ended up winning 2-1. Tonbridge, we said they would carry on losing as well. They didn't. They won 2-1. Dorking, we said 4-1. They actually won 2-0. And Hornchurch, we said 3-2. It was 2-1 Hornchurch. And Worthing, we said 3-1. And it was 3-0. And moving on, nice and quickly, we went back to the WSL, and in the WSL, Chelsea's women, we predicted 6-1, it was 2-0. Man City's women, we said 4-1, it was 1-0. PSG nicked it very late against Nice and won 1-0. Monaco, we said would beat Paris FC 3-1, they didn't. Paris won 1-0. We said Marseille would win 3-1. They didn't. Both teams went down to 10 men, but Marseille's 10 men won 1-0. Frankfurt, we said 4-1. Heidenheim and Frankfurt, we said 4-1. It didn't. It ended 1-1. Mainz and Werder Bremen, we said 3-1 Werder Bremen. We didn't. It ended 1-1. RB Leipzig, we said 2-2. It ended 3-1. Mönchengladbach, we said 3-1. It was not 3-1. It was 4-0 Mönchengladbach. We said Freiburg would beat Union Berlin 3-1. It didn't. It ended 0-0. With 2 disallowed goals by VAR in that one. Bayern Munich, we said 4-2. It was a comfortable 3-0. Udinese against Atalanta, we said Atalanta would win it 3-1. They didn't. They lost 1-0. Napoli and Como, we said would end 3-1 Napoli. It didn't. It ended 0-0. And Juventus, we said 1-4 to Juventus. It didn't. It ended 2-1 Juventus. And Nacional and Famalicão. Nacional had a goal disallowed, which would have made it 1-1. It ended 1-0. Casapia and Estrella played an absolute 8-goal thriller out. Casapia losing 3-5. There was an offside disallowed goal in the 23rd minute. Casino gave Casapia a 1-0 lead in the 34th. Kikas scored an equaliser in the 36th. Gabriel Cabral scored a penalty in the 41st minute to go 2-1 at half time. Mohamed scored in the 48th minute to make it 2-2. Gabriel scored another penalty to make it 3-2 in the 65th. Murieta scored in the 67th minute to make it 4-2. And then Gabriel making a hat-trick in the 82nd minute with a 5-2 goal. And then Fonte making it 5-3 in the 85th minute. And then Casino nearly had his second goal of the game, but was ruled off in the 97th minute by VAR for an offside. Cool, Jesus. That was a lot to go through. And then Guimarães took on Benfica. Benfica ended up beating Guimarães 3-0. We had 4-1 Benfica, but Benfica ended up playing the second half. Guimarães played the second half with 10 against Benfica's 11. Falkirk, we said we're going to lose to Kilmarnock 2-1. They didn't. They won. Falkirk won 3-1. We said Hearts were doing 3-1. They didn't. They won 4-0. And Livingston and Hibernian, we said would be 3-1 Hibs. It was not. It was 2-2. They shared the spoils. We didn't predict a Scottish Cup game because I didn't even know that it was on, because it is the playoff round. I think it's the semi-finals. Yes, it is the semi-finals of that competition. So I didn't know about it, but I will give you the result. Motherwell was taking on St Mirren in the semis, and St Mirren ends up winning 4-1. In La Liga, back to our predictions, we said Villarreal would beat Rayo Vallecano 2-0. They didn't. They won 4-0. Atletico Madrid, we said 3-1 over Sevilla. They won 3-0. We said Real Sociedad and Atletico Bilbao would draw 2-2. They didn't. Real Sociedad won 3-2 with there was quite a few goals in this one. Mendes scored, and then Gutierrez scored the equaliser. Gudez scored to make it 2-1. Naruto scored to make it 2-2. Greco Kakiki scored in the 92nd minute to make it 3-2. And then right in the last minute, there was a goal disallowed. It does not show, but it was disallowed for offside. Real Madrid, we said 4-1, and it ended 4-0. It was comfortable. New York, we said 2-0. It didn't. It ended 0-0, and Charlotte won it on penalties to level the series 1-1. Chicago Fire and Philadelphia, we said the game would end 2-2. It didn't. It ended 3-0, and now Philadelphia lead the playoff series by 2-0. And Inter Miami, we said with Messi would win 3-1. They didn't. They lost 2-1. And that series is 1-1. And that is your Saturday predictions, all up to date as they happen. And in the Premier League, we predicted Newcastle to win 3-1. They did not win 3-1. They lost 3-1 to West Ham. And Man City won 3-1 as well. And we had 3-2 Bournemouth. So that was a bit of a gut buster. FA Cup. In the WSL, we had Aston Villa 3, Everton's women 1. It ended a 3-3 draw. It was a brilliant game of football. Gatko scored in the 11th minute. Mullet scored in the 45th plus 8 minutes. Hansen came and scored for Aston Villa in the 59th minute. Kitagawa scored in the 20th made it 2-2 in the 70th minute, and in the 74th minute, Ruby Mace scored an own goal, and then Gago scored in the 94th for her second of the game. Man United ended up winning. Women ended up winning 3-2 over Brighton. It was Turland 1-0 after 45 minutes. Jessica Park with 2-0 in the 58th minute. Frank Kirby for Brighton in scoring Brighton first goal to make it 2-1. And then Lisa Nazulunund, the Norway international, scored in the 89th. And then Kiko Sieki scored in the 92nd minute to make it 3-2. And we had that one to end 4-1. Leicester's women, we had them to lose 6-1 to Arsenal. Alicia Russo opened the scoring after 7 minutes. It was an own goal from Saudi Keys to make it 2-0. Black Stanius with a 36-minute goal to make it 3-0 at half time. And then Naomi Mochon made it 3-1 in the 83rd. And then Black Stanius made it 4-1 in the 84th. That is all the WSL for you, brought up to date. Now we're moving on to Ligue 1 in France. We predicted Rennes and Strasbourg to end 1-1. It ended 4-1 to Stade Rennais. Racing Lens, we said would win 2-1 over Lorient. They actually won 3-0. We said Lille would beat Angers 4-0. It ended 1-0. And Metz and Nantes, we said Nantes would win 2-1, but Metz won 2-0. And then Toulouse, we had them to beat Le Havre 3-1, but they didn't. It ended 0-0. And we've got Brest in the later kickoff to beat Lyon, for Lyon to win 3-1. That game at the moment is half time. Lyon down to 10 men, and that is 0-0. SC Cologne, we had a 2-2 draw for Hamburg. 9 men, Hamburg lost 4-1. And Hoffenheim, we had 2-1 Hoffenheim over Wolfsburg. It ended 3-2. Inter Milan, we had 4-1 over Verona. Inter Milan won 2-1. And Fiorentina, we had to beat Nice 3-1. They didn't. Fiorentina still on their massive losing streak as we speak. Not doing too well at the moment. But Nice winning that game 1-0. Torino, we had 3-1 Torino. It ended 2-2. Bologna and Parma, we had 3-2 Bologna. It ended 3-1 Bologna. In the later kickoff, we got AC Milan leading. We have AC Milan to win 3-1 over Roma. At half time, it is 1-0 to AC Milan. AFS over Tondiella, we had 2-0 to AFS. It didn't. It ended 2-2. And Oreca and Moreirense, we had 2-2. It ended Moreirense 2-0. So, and in the later kickoff in that one, this one is FC Porto. We have got 4-2 over Braga. After 20 minutes, that game is 0-0. In the Scottish Premiership semi-final, in the second game, it was Celtic v Rangers. It is obviously your Celtic v Rangers game. Wonderful game again. In the 25th minute, Johnny Kenny scored for Celtic to give him a 1-0 lead. And then Fiala Asgard for Rangers was sent from the field in the 38th. There was Austin Trusty was booked in the 43rd. Anthony Ralston for Celtic was booked in the 51st minute. Dazan Mayede was booked in the 57th minute. Conor Gregor was booked in the 62nd minute. for Celtic, and Arnie Engels also was booked in the 66th minute for Celtic. And then Nicholas Raskin was booked for Rangers in the 73rd minute. And then James Tavernier scored the equaliser from the penalty spot in the 81st minute. Conor McGregor in extra time made it 3-1, made it 2-1 in the 93rd. And then in the 109th minute of extra time, Callum Osmand scored to make it 3-1 after extra time in the Scottish Cup semi-final. So after all that, it is Celtic v St Mirren in the final. We predicted Glasgow City's women 8-0 over Aberdeen. It ended 5-0. In Birmingham, we had 5-1. It ended 3-0. And in Montrose and Motherwell, we said 4-2 Motherwell. It was 1-1. And we had Hearts to lose 5-4 to Rangers women. That was anything but. It ended 3-2 to Hearts' women. In La Liga, we had Levante to beat Celta Vigo 3-1 to carry on their good start. Celta Vigo put a stop to that and beating 10-man Levante 2-1. Alaves, we had 2-2. Alaves ended up winning with 10 men to win 2-1. Barcelona, we said, would win 5-1. They won 3-1. Real Betis at half-time at the moment are leading Mallorca 3-0. Fucking hell. Anthony in the 10th. Anthony in the 34th. And Anthony assisting Adior Azriel in the 37th minute. Vancouver Whitecaps drew 1-1 at full time, and then Vancouver Whitecaps end up winning 4-2 on penalties. We had Dallas to win that. They didn't. And Portland Timbers, we said they would win 3-1. They didn't. They drew 2-2. And then they won 3-2 on penalties. And Columbus Crew are yet to kick off in that one. We're going to take you through a quick rundown of the Spanish women's thing. These were not predicted, but I think we should expel on them as it is a really good competition. Normally, and really there has been some shocking upsets this weekend. Not many goals, but the biggest headline is Real Sociedad's women beating Barcelona's women 1-0 from the penalty spot in the 37th minute. Barcelona's women had 16 shots, only 2 on target. That's not good from Barcelona with a full-blown team out. And yeah, there's just not a lot of goals in that one at all. So yeah, that was the biggest upset of the weekend. In the football weekend. That is the biggest upset. Moving on. As this is now over the football predictions, we are now going to move on to the sports catch-up show, which will make us look at all the headlines of the sports around the sports in world. So starting with the Rugby League on Saturday, we saw Papua New Guinea beat Fiji 50-18. And then in the women's game, Papua New Guinea's women lost 6-4 to Tonga's women. And then in the Beer Ashes, as I said, we were 1-0 down in the Beer Ashes from the first game. The Beer Ashes has now been determined that Australia have now won the Beer Ashes after beating England 14-4. And today in the men's rugby league, New Zealand won 40-14 over Tonga, and New Zealand losing 4-10 to Australia's women. That's all the rugby league action this weekend. Moving on to the rugby union for Friday. In the Championship Rugby, Bedford Blues 36, Doncaster 32, Worcester Warriors 52, London Scottish 19. And in the Premiership Rugby Cup, which is played during the international breaks, Bristol 19, Bath 49, and Newcastle Red Bulls 8, Leicester Tigers 10. That is all the rugby on Friday. On Saturday, in the rugby, you had the French top 14, Toulon beating Lyon 54-21, Berwan beating Mantain 49-7, Bordeaux Bengals beat the Castres 28-26, Montpellier losing 9-7 to Clermont, and Section Palois beating US Peregrine 27-23, and Stade Toulousain winning 29-27 over Stade Francais. In the Championship Rugby, Cambridge 32, Nottingham 36, Richmond 17, Coventry RFS C 52, Cornish Pirates 34, Calais 27, Chinner 17-10 over Ampthill, and Ealing Trailfinders 27, Hartpury University 19. And in the Premiership Premiership Rugby Cup, we saw Northampton Saints 26, Harlequins 17. In the Premiership Women, Exeter Chiefs Women 31, Gloucester's Women 47. And in the International Rugby, we saw Barbarians 19, New Zealand A 33, England 25, Australia 7, South Africa 61, Japan 7, Scotland 85, USA 0, and Ireland 13, New Zealand 26. That's your rugby union for Saturday. Moving into Sunday, Premiership Rugby Cup, Sale Sharks 28, Gloucester 29, Leicester Tigers Women 0, Bristol Bears Women 74, Loughborough Lightning Women 19, Sale Sharks 12, Saracens Women 47, Harlequins Women 10. And there is no international rugby on Sunday, so that is all your rugby league. That is all your rugby league and rugby union. In the darts, the Modus Super Series saw Derek Colson At age 57, he won the final over Mark Duckbridge 4-0, and he is your Saturday final winner. There was nothing else in that. In the tennis, in Zhejiang, in the WTA, in the women's division, Blekhanov won 2-0. And in the qualifications, as we've got, I'm guessing we've got a big French tournament coming up. As there's a bit of qualifications going on, there is nothing else around any of them. Sorry, there's just no sport in tennis. No results in the tennis. Anything in the golf. That's how you know we're desperate. Challenge to final. Nope. So nothing in golf this weekend. The basketball. Moving on to the NBA. Let's have a look at the NBA. It would have been on the Friday. Oh, we've also got the British. We've also got Britain. We've also brought the Britain games as well. So, starting with Friday. Leicester Raiders 95, Cheshire Phoenix 93, Manchester Basketball over the Sheffield Sharks, Manchester Basketball 87-75, Newcastle Eagles over Bristol Flyers 87-83. In the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks 120 over the Golden State Warriors 110, and the Oklahoma City Thunder 27, Washington Wizards 108, San Antonio Spurs 107, Miami Heat 101, Indiana Pacers 108, Atlanta Hawks 128, Philadelphia 76ers 108, Boston Celtics 109, Cleveland Cavaliers over the Toronto Raptors 112 over 101. Moving on to Saturday's games in the basketball. We only have the NBA on Saturday. So it's the Chicago Bulls winning by 135-25 over the New York Knicks. Memphis Grizzlies 112, Los Angeles Lakers 117, the Phoenix Suns 118 over the Utah Jazz 96, the Portland Trail Blazers 109 over the Denver Nuggets 107, the Los Angeles Clippers 126 over the New Orleans Pelicans 124, Milwaukee Bucks 133, Sacramento Kings 135, Charlotte Hornets 105, Minnesota Timberwolves 122, Indiana Pacers 114, and the Golden State Warriors 109. That's 2 defeats in a row for the Golden State Warriors. And the Washington Wizards 94, the Orlando Magic 125. Moving on to Sunday's results. In the English Super League Basketball, it was Caledonia Gladiators 74-62 over the Manchester Basketball. London Lions 82 over the Leicester Raiders 70, and the Sheffield Sharks 76-69. And then in the NBA, there's only 2 results to bring you. The Houston Rockets beat the Boston Celtics 128 to 101. And the Detroit Pistons 122 to the Dallas Mavericks 110. That is your basketball results. There was Judd Trump is in the International Championship. He's the only Englishman playing today. They won 6-1. And cricket. Last but not least, the cricket. As I said, last but not least, around the sports is the cricket. It was a tough defeat for England over South Africa. Never really got going in their semi-final. Never really got going in their semi-final. In the women's semi-final. Yeah, England's women in the semi-final over South Africa. 194 for 10 for England, and South Africa set them a target of 319 for 7. South Africa ended up winning by 125 runs. And then in the other semi-final, Australia setting them a target of 338 for 10. And India's women won that one by 5 wickets because they scored 341 for 5. They had 9 balls remaining in their innings if they actually needed them. So that sets up a massive tie between those two. So that's that. That's all the cricket. And yeah, we're just going to quickly close in on some NFL fixtures, which we'll jump onto in depth into the actual. We'll cover them on the actual NFL catch-up show. But so far, it is the Cincinnati Bengals losing to the Chicago Bears 27-41. Detroit Lions losing to the Minnesota Vikings 27-24. Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans are 15-15. New England Patriots win by 1, 24-23. San Francisco 49ers winning 34-24. Pittsburgh Steelers winning by 27-17. The Tennessee Titans 20 to the LA Chargers 27. And at 9:25 this evening, the Buffalo Bills will take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then at Monday at 1:20, you can watch the Washington Commanders versus the Seattle Seahawks. So all over that sort of over the sporting catch-up show there, it has been a wonderful thing of sport this weekend. But what I want to mention to you all is I am going to be expanding this channel a little bit further, and this is what the last 10 minutes is going to be about, is basically the in-depth of what's coming up on this channel. So you can get an and in of what you think's going to happen. So at the moment on the channel, we are, at present, we have got the football predictions and the football results. We've got the NFL catch-up show, which happens on a Tuesday. And then we have the weekend's sports catch-up, which is going to happen on a Monday night. But we'll see how we progress for that one. When the Super League and all the rugby union restarts and all this lot starts again properly, we're going to have a rugby catch-up show and a rugby predictions. We're going to have an NFL predictions show. We're going to do some baking videos. So I'm going to teach you how to make some brownies, some cupcakes, like different things that you wouldn't normally be able to. And then I'm going to show you how to ice them and decorate things. We're also going to do some darts challenges, which is going to happen when I've got a bit more equipment. We're going to do some Xbox games as well, which is more like doing predictions via the computer. So we're going to do my own predictions, and then we're going to do the computer's predictions on that, say, sport, what they're going to win by, and see who gets quicker, who gets better results, me or technology. We've also then got the table tennis matches. We're going to have some table tennis matches where I'm going to challenge a few people around my local area or people that I know, and get back to when I used to represent the youth side of things in table tennis. We're also then going to start doing a little podcast on sports topics and catch up with news and stories and things like that and get you in depth. We're also then going to do some interviews around different sport grounds, different ones. Wherever I go, I'll have a camera as well as my microphone. We're going to have a podcast show here as well. We might do some football videos as well. That depends on how things progress. I've then also been told that trying food and trying snacks from different countries as well would be a good idea. And there is some big things around unboxing and unpacking blind bags and things like that, so we might bring that to this channel as well. So yeah, it's been a wonderful time basically, trying to build up this channel the best of my ability. I'm not used to doing this, but I spoke to a few YouTubers recently who have basically helped me plan a platform basically why I am medically signed off from work. I really can't work at the moment. My mental health has taken a little bit of a battering, so I've had to step away from work for a bit. But yeah, so this has been really grand to try and build up this sort of show. Obviously, mini golf, and we're going to try and get some like people to play with and take some cameras around places. This might not happen until maybe December, January, February, as obviously I've got to try and get hold of places as well. But yeah, we're going to do different things, football challenges and things like that. I've got a few friends that I play with that will be watching this channel. Hi James, hi Adrian, hi Anthony, hi James H, hi James Gillum. It's nice to see you all, and I hope you are watching my videos. And I hope to be bringing some football content to the channel thanks to my friends that I play with. It'll be a wonderful time, and yeah, it'll be different once we get everything going. And yeah, this has been Joshua's sports catch up, as well as the football catch up show, as well as the sports around the globe. This has been wonderful. but I am really hoping that we can get a lot more done for this content related things, and you can all hope we can build some subscribers and things like that. And yeah, I've been told that there's a few things that I need to do in the comments for certain prediction shows, but that is all helpful to help you guys comment your predictions down below. But because I'm only just starting, it's taken me a little while to work out how I wanted to do everything and if it was going to work. But thank you ever so much for all your views and everything around things. It really has helped me try and fulfill a passion that I've always wanted to do. So thank you all very much. I have been Josh, and I will see you all guys later. Thank you ever so much. Bye bye.